Oleksandr Usyk has called out Deontay Wilder. If only Deontay Wilder, when he was champion, had this kind of gumption to be calling out other top fighters in the division and actually being serious about going and fighting him. Now, it remains to be seen whether Usyk's serious about fighting Wilder, but this is a step in the right direction. He doesn't have to mention Wilder. Wilder's not a champion right now, is he? So he doesn't have to mention him. Deontay Wilder, when he was WBC champion, when did you hear him calling out Dillian Whyte, calling out Usyk, calling out any of the top contenders? He would talk about the champions. And obviously when Fury was a top contender, he was talking about him. But he picked Fury the first time around because he thought he was a soft touch. That's what it was all about. And then he obviously fought Dominic Breazeale, Luis Ortiz, was confident against Fury. He thought, okay, I nearly knocked him out the first time. He's only going to move around the ring. I'm going to be better next time. It backfired again. But Fury aside, he wasn't willing to fight the top contenders in the division. He only seemed interested in, cash cow type fighters. Whereas Oleksandr Usyk, he's been talking about Dillian Whyte. He's been talking about Deontay Wilder, who nobody has to fight right now. But he was still talking about fighting him. If only Wilder had that same energy, But he isn't WBC champion anymore. Usyk is WBO mandatory. And if he continues in this vein to have this level of confidence and to be calling out all these top guys, then I think Oleksandr Usyk is going to bring a tremendous amount of value to the heavyweight division. Whether he becomes the top guy in the division is irrelevant, really, as long as he keeps that type of energy and that attitude whereby he's willing to step in and fight whoever. Anthony Joshua, Fury, Wilder, belt or no belt. If it's a good fight, if the fighter is still relevant and they're still one of the top fighters in the division, then he's willing to go there. I like the attitude. Let's see if Deontay Wilder responds, because as I've said in some recent videos, Wilder also has the opportunity here to redeem himself. And make no mistake about it, Deontay Wilder does need to redeem himself. He does. He did a lot of bad things when he was champion, particularly the final 2 years of his championship reign. He did a lot of bad things, said a lot of bad things, which were damaging to the sport. Now that he's been relieved of his championship, he has the opportunity, you see, because setbacks pave the way for comebacks. He now has the opportunity to prove himself in a way that he didn't do as champion. He can take on top contenders. He can take on Usyk. He can take on the Dillian Whytes of the world. He could take on Joseph Parker. Other guys of that ilk. And if he's able to beat those guys, let's say he beat two of those guys. Let's say he beat Dillian Whyte, beats Usyk. At that point, he's far more legitimate, probably, than he was as champion. At that point, there are going to be people saying, you know what? Wilder is an uncouth country bumpkin who says a lot of nonsense and believes a lot of nonsense, but he's proven himself in the ring here, so we can't begrudge him because he's finally got in there and fought his way into a position rather than just being handed a position. And he's still an exciting fighter at the end of the day. As much as I criticize Deontay Wilder, the person, as a fighter, he is wild, he's powerful, he's explosive, he's fast, and he's entertaining. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see Deontay Wilder in all the fights I've mentioned. I just want him to actually prove himself this time before he starts mouthing off and declaring himself the best. And, well, we know that's never going to happen. But either way, I want him to prove himself before he gets another title shot. Let's just put it that way. Because what we can't have is him being gifted a title shot somehow and then holding a belt hostage like he did last time, where he's trying to freeze out a lot of the top contenders. We can't have that situation arising again. Therefore, we need him to fight a lot of the top contenders before he becomes champion. Do what he didn't do during his first stint as a contender. Fight some other contenders, some top contenders. He never did that on the way up. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Oleksandr Usyk calling out Deontay Wilder, saying he wants all the smoke with the country bumpkin. Let me know. If you'd like to access all my boxing content advert-free and enjoy the convenience of listening via a podcast app with the option to download in high-quality MP3, then consider joining me on Patreon. In addition to the aforementioned perks, you'll also gain access to exclusive weekly live stream Q&A sessions and hangouts, as well as uncensored, no-holds-barred uploads, which are too blue for YouTube. This includes my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Boxing Extra. There's no contract, there's no commitment, it's only £2.50 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of hardcore boxing enthusiasts by signing up with me here on Patreon today.